Let's do the same thing, but this time I'm going to go, when I get to this A, instead of going to this string, I'm going to go back up to this string. So notice I'm going to start walking down the string, and then I'm going to jump back up top again. So I'm going to go, this is from the 1 to the 2 is a whole step, from 2 to 3 is a whole step, from 3 to 4 is a whole step, from 4 to 5 is, wait a sec, I got that wrong. From 1 to 2 is a whole step, from 2 to 3 is a whole step, from 3 to 4 is a half step, from 4 to 5 is a whole step, from 5 to 6 would be a whole step right there, but instead of going there, I'm going to jump back up to the top. All right. Now it's going to sound a little wonky, right, because the octaves are going to be different, but it's going to be in the key, and I can imagine I'm still kind of walking up the same thing if I imagine all the notes kind of in a circle. So I can go, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, wait a sec, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so let's look at that. So that distance was going from the 5 to the 6, right? So from the 5 to the 6 is going to be a whole step. So from the perspective of this G, when I went back up here, it's a whole step, meaning that should mean that it's a 2-note away major second. So how can I prove that? Well, when I go above the note, I have to take the inverse distance. So I can see this is going to be a distance of 10 between the strings, and then, 5 between the strings, 10 between the strings, and then there's only 12 notes in the musical alphabet, so 12 minus 10 is 2. So if I look at this interval from the perspective of the A to G would be a 10-note away minor 7, but from the perspective of the G, bottom to top, 2-note away major second, 2-note away major second. Okay, so that's interesting. So now I can basically, what if I looked at that A from the perspective of the C here? Well, the A would be, we would expect the relative position 6, which would be a 9-note away major 6. How can I prove that? Well, it's behind the C, so the inverse distance is going to be 1, 2 notes. There's 2 notes between them. 1, 2, 3 notes away, 3 notes between them. 12 minus 3 is 9, and therefore we would get a 9-note away major 6. So if I went from the A back to the, from the C to the A, interval from the perspective of the C, 9-note away major 6. What about from the perspective of the G? Well, from the perspective of the G, I would be on absolute mode number 5 to make it mode number 1. I can say 5 minus 4 would make it the 1, and then I'm going to absolute mode number 6. 6 minus 4 would make it the 2. So I would be going from the relative position 1 of the Mixolydian to relative position 2. What's the distance? Well, once again, the distance is from the perspective of the G, 5, 10, and then 10, 12 minus 10 is 2. So it'd be a 2-note away major second. If I go down to the G, you could see the Mixolydian, relative position 1 of the Mixolydian, absolute mode number 5 is the G going to relative position 2, which is absolute mode number 6, Aeolian, to the A, which is a 2-note away major second distance away. All right, so let's go from there. We're going to go from the so now let's go from the 6. So now we're going to go wait a sec. From the 6 is going to be a whole step to the 7. So 6 is going to be a whole step to the 7. So we're on the A to B, and so we went from the 6 to the whole step of the 7, 6 to the whole step of the 7, which is going to be going from absolute mode number 6 Aeolian to absolute mode number 7. And let's keep it rolling. And if I compare that absolute mode number 7, which is at the top of the house now, what I would call in the attic, what's the distance between it and the relative major scale? It's going to be a 11 note away major 7. Let's just keep it rolling. We're going to go now from the 7 to the 8, which is a half step, going from the 7 to the 8, which is back home. So 7 to 8, which goes from the B to the C. In our case, we're at the top right of the house. This is what I call C's house. He has the penthouse in the top right, going from absolute mode number 7, Locrian, to absolute mode number 8, or 1, Ionian, otherwise known as the major scale. And then we're going to go from the C, from the first to the second, we'll go around the horn. So going from the 1 to the 2 of the major scale is a whole step. And it's going to be a whole step going from absolute mode number 1, Ionian, to absolute mode number 2, which is the Dorian. The Dorian is located, you can think of it as the box double stop. So it's at the top of the double stop and the box double stop. And then we're going to go from, actually there's kind of two locations. I don't want to get into that too much detail now. The box will always remain the same, but if you look at that shape, but the double stop box versus the box double stop gets a little bit wonky. But if we go from the 2 to the 3rd, it's going to be a whole step. So we're going to go from absolute mode number 2 to absolute mode number 3, Dorian to Phrygian. So whenever I go from the Dorian to the Phrygian, it's going to be a whole step. We're going to be a whole step. And then, of course, the Phrygian is absolute mode number 3. It's going to be a 4-note away major 3rd from, and that's going to be here, from the C, 1, 2, 3, 4 notes away. I can repeat that in open position. So now we're on the low E. And so the low E, and now we're going to go from the 3rd to the 4th is a half step. So from the 3 to the 4 of the major scale is a half step. Going from the E to the F, open E to F is going to be a half step. Going from the absolute mode number 3, Phrygian, to absolute mode number 4, the Lydian. And then we're going to go from the 4th to the 5th of the major scale is a whole step. 4th to the 5th is a whole step. All right, and we're going from absolute mode number 4, Lydian, to absolute mode number 5, mixed Lydian, which is a whole step. And then we're going from the 5 to the 6, which is a whole step. Brings us basically back to where we started. 5 to the 6 is a whole step. 5 to the 6 is going to be a whole step. Going from the G to the A is going to be a whole step. And then back home. All right, let's go to the next one.